Which is better, digital art or traditional art? Hello guys, my name is Spencer Collins and today we're going to be doing two drawings, one digital and one traditional, to see which is better. Now going into this, I think I'm much better at digital art. I like having all these different brushes. I like using a bunch of different layers. I just feel less limited using digital. Personal preferences aside, let's get right into it. And I'll be starting out with digital. Here you'll see me doing a rough sketch, and this is one thing I really like when drawing digitally, like doing a super rough sketch, then lowering the opacity and drawing a more refined sketch over that. You can kind of do the same thing on paper, but I feel like you can only go so far before things get too cluttered. I know it's a skill issue, but I can have my preferences, okay? I don't have much to say right now, so sit back and enjoy some sketching. Once I figured out the pose, I was ready to move on to details. This is basically my process on any drawing I do. I'll do a rough sketch, a less rough sketch, and then I'll ink it, which you're going to see later, and colors we will also get to later. And oh yeah, we're drawing Venom, by the way, if you couldn't tell. And with this drawing, I wasn't going for a specific Venom design. I mean, his design is pretty basic, but I just looked at different images and used the parts that I liked. Like, I made the eyes a bit more round and his tongue very angular, sort of. Here we're on to the inking stage. Now the good thing when inking digitally is that you can erase it. I've had multiple drawings I've messed up when inking or coloring where it's just a pain to fix and sometimes it just ruins the drawing. After I laid down the flat colors, I added a subtle gradient over his body. I then went over with a layer of cell shading, which just means that it's not blended, and then I'll add a few layers of lighting. I like to keep my process pretty simple. I would like to do a video in the future going over my digital process. Now I'm just playing around with the background and adding any final touches. I'm pretty indecisive when drawing, so it's good that I can experiment when working digitally. Now that we're wrapping it up, here is my digital Venom. I actually really like how this one came out, but now let's do it on paper. Now, despite how much I was glazing digital art, I actually really do like drawing traditionally. I much prefer the feel of paper over a glossy screen when sketching. With this drawing, I'm basing it heavily on the digital one just because it's more annoying drawing poses on paper where there's no undo button or any way to resize certain parts. Also, I apologize for my head getting in the way. Thankfully, I fixed that later. Now we're wrapping up the rough sketch on paper. Now I'm going to be going over my sketch with ink. Now, like I said earlier, you need to be a lot more careful when inking traditionally. Thankfully, since I'm such a pro gamer, I had no problem with that. Jokes aside, here's my inking process. I'll shut up and let you watch this. I'm going to be using some Copic markers and Spectrum Noir markers. And I'll also be using some Sharpies for the black sections. And lastly, I'll be using a white gel pen for some highlights. Let's color this thing. It's felt like a long time since I colored with markers. I wanted to start out with the rim lighting just because I could go over that with black, but I can't do the opposite. I'm Here we have it. I gotta say, I actually really like how this one came out. And there we have it. We have them side by side. We have the traditional one and we have the digital one. But which one do you like more? I had a lot of fun doing both, but I think I'm gonna have to go with the digital one. I just felt like I could do more with the digital one. If you like this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Peace.